Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add. Tonight, we're also talking about Nadu. He's like the new boogeyman in Simic lately.
He was the one you sent to kill the boogeyman.
He's the reason why a lot of the zero equipment is now like $20, like Shuko and Mantle, no longer budget friendly. They used to be 50 cents or less. But because of Nadu here, creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, that's the keyword, reveal the top card of your library if it's a land, put it on the battlefield, otherwise put it in your hand. This ability triggers twice a turn. And because that's individually on each creature, you can max do it twice in each creature. And the reason why zero equip costs were so good in this deck is because obviously you circumvent costs to see one card to either cheat a land into play and ramp you or have some gas to play with. I got to play at least one zero equipment, and that's Lightning Greaves, and I'm gonna have to make do with 1 mana sinks instead of 0 mana sinks. It's unfortunate, but cheating a land into play and then using that land to keep on doing the thing is also really powerful and fun. So he is still playable even on a budget. First off, we're gonna talk about Jace, Wielder Marvels. He's great in that once you draw out your deck, you win the game. We're going to be trying to do that with 33 creatures, specifically looking for creatures that fulfill the removal package. And that's why we have Amphimuneer. Exile something else has Encore, so I can exile 3 things later. Turn Timber Basilisk. This is one of your free target abilities. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, you make it so something can't block. You just target your own thing. Tayova. What's not to love about drawing a card and gaining a life off your land? Just too good to ignore. It's like low-hanging fruit. Rex Sage, another removal piece for artifacts and enchantments. Tide Force Elemental, this is one of your single mana sinks. You target your own stuff with its activated ability, and then you untap it every time a land comes down. Unfortunately, it costs you a blue, so it's not as good as some of the equipment that's in here. Regal Behemoth for big mana, and some extra card advantage on your end step. Trinket Mage, this lets you get one of your 1-drop artifacts. I'm running a handful. They're just equipments that have a 1 equip costs, so I could just go down the line and move them around. I can get Bone Saw, I can get Explorer Scope, I can get Bone Splitter. Venturing Gear is slightly better because I pump up my creature. I could probably dump enough lands into play and pump Nadu up to being a lethal attacker for the turn. It's a fun little equipment. Elvish Herder, so the mana sink that also targets your stuff. Get Nadu triggers. Rampaging Balos to take advantage of your landfall triggers. You'll make 4/4 beast tokens. They're significant. I don't like making 1/1s, but making 3/3s and 4/4s, those are relevant stat blocks. Tyler's Provisioner, this is to help with your mana bottleneck. Because I'm paying 1 mana for stuff, this will help fix that problem. Champion of Lambhold, making your stuff unblockable. Mass Vandal, to exile artifacts and enchantments. Eternal Witness, get something back. Seeker of the Skybreak, this is another one of those A-listers. You untap target creature and you target itself the first 2 times, and then you get a 3rd activation with it.
I do some dumb things.
It's a janky way of getting triggers, but it works. Tribute Mage, get my 2-drop equipment. This is basically my turbo getter. Get my Lightning Greaves. Managorger Hydra, it's a threat that people will have to eventually deal with. Volatile Stormdrake, I'm excited that this is surprisingly budget friendly. It's $1.44. It's like one of the best blue removal spells because worst case scenario, you don't have the energy to pay and the creature just gets sacrificed, which is just as good. There's no downside. I don't feel bad about not being able to pay the 4 energy and just sacking it. Beast Whisperer, draw cards. Avenger of Zendikar, definitely one of your finishers. Defiler Vigor, a good chunk of your deck is green creatures, so this is to help deal with the bottleneck of running out of mana. Analytic Keenite, it's a coupon for creatures. Augur of Autumn, this lets you play creatures and lands off the top of your library. I particularly like the ones where I can play lands and creatures because I want both. Keeper of Keys makes myself unblockable if I'm the Monarch. Gyre Sage for big mana. Jin-Gitaxias, I figured that he's super great in this deck because you should consistently have a full grip of cards with Nadu. Once you slipped over and you get to the final chapter, you basically have an omniscience for the turn. That's probably more than enough to close out the game. Lotus Cobra for a bunch of mana, fix your bottleneck problem. Laboratory Maniac, which is another win condition. Creeping Renaissance as a recovery plan to board wipes. Because I am in blue, I could answer board wipes more effectively. At least if I don't have a counterspell in hand, I'll probably have a full grip of cards to rebuild just fine. It's just like some quality assurance, that's for sure. Archmage's Charm to steal people's mana crypt and counter something if I need to. Sigil of Valor seems a little special to talk about. I could turn Nadu into a lethal attacker if my board's big enough. Gets +1/+1 for each other creature I control, and I am dumping a lot into play. And it only has 1 to equip, so it kind of fulfills more than one niche. Narok Stealth Suit and Protection Equipment. Unfortunately, it turns off Nadu for targeting, but I could move things back and forth if I wanted to. Wing Boots, I've never played with this, but Ward Force seems just as effective as Hexproof in my idea. Like, turning efficient removal into inefficient ones seems really great. And I could do the re-equipping thing. Cauldron of Souls is also pretty fun. I could choose any number of target creatures and get a massive multiple Nadu triggers. I wonder if I could break the game with this. That'd be kind of scary. Nah. Roaring Earth is a nice landfall trigger. Lets me put counters on my stuff. Retreat to Kazandu does the same thing, only it's for a mana more. Trample and card draw. Seems nice. Imprison the Moon, the deal with pesky commanders. Coral Helm, another target for free if I drop a land. Elven Course, this is kind of nice. Turns my entire board into dorks and lets me cast creatures off the top. What's not the love? Unnatural Selection, this lets me choose random creature types for 1 mana.
Anything will do.
So sweet sync. All right, we talked about the deck. Let's play the game now.